हरि ओम। ओम श्री गणेशाय नमः। ओम श्री हिरण्यगर्भाय नमः। ओम श्री महाविष्णवे नमः। ओम श्री महादेवाय नमः। ओम श्री महादुर्गायै नमः। ओम श्री राम रामाय नमः। ओम श्री सद्गुरवे नमः। ओम सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांतिः। ओम गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं। भवानी शङ्करौ वन्दे श्रद्धाविश्वासरूपिणौ याभ्यां विना न पश्यन्ति सिद्धाः स्वान्तस्तमीश्वरम्। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। रामाय रामभद्राय रामचन्द्राय वेदसे रघुनाथाय नाथाय सीतायाः पतये नमः। बुद्धिर्बलं यशोधैर्यं निर्भयत्वमरोगता अजाड्यं वाक्पटुत्वं च हनुमत्स्मरणात् भवेत्। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ओम नमः शिवाय 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 ओम नमः शिवाय। नमः पार्वती पतये। हर हर महादेव। हरि ओम हरि ओम। And a very happy Lohri to all of you. Hari Om. We have seen 15 chapters of Bhagavad Gita, and now we will begin the study of the 16th chapter. So before we study this chapter, briefly we will go back and see what we have studied. See, this Srimad Bhagavad Gita is the very essence of the Vedas. So, if we study the Gita well, it is like understanding the Vedas. Vedas are guidance given to us while we are living in this world. Vedas are revealed. Vedas are Anadi, Ananta, Paurusheya. They are the knowledge which is essential for us to live properly in this world and to gain our ultimate goal of self-realization. The essential teachings of the Vedas are conveyed in the Upanishads, and the very essence of the teaching of the Upanishad is conveyed in the Mahavakya, like Tattvamasi, Aham Brahmasmi, Ayam Atma Brahma, Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma, Prajnanam Brahma. These are the Mahavakyas. The great statement conveying the essential teaching of the Upanishads. So these teachings are given to human beings because they alone are capable of understanding and realizing their own supreme self. So in this Mahavakya there are three words, Tat, Tvam and Asi, or Aham, Brahma and Asmi. So Tattvamasi is you are that. That means that Brahma, that supreme Brahma, that one reality, that Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, that Satchidananda Brahma, that you are. You are that. But you, to whom is the scripture speaking to? Who is this I? That I is that Kshetrajna, the innermost self. So first we have to recognize the innermost self which is being addressed by the scriptures. When the scripture says you are Brahma, scriptures are not talking to the body. They are not referring to that Ahankar as Brahma, but referring to that Antaratma as Brahma. Therefore, in the first 6 chapters of Gita, Bhagavan focuses our attention on realizing and understanding this Aham properly. Because Aham is I am confused and experiencing sorrows in this world. I have to understand my own self properly. So Arjuna, who represents all of us, Bhagavan told him in the beginning itself that you are that eternal Atma. You are not this body which changes and dies. You are not the mind, the intellect, the senses which are constantly changing. You are that eternal Atma. But you are not realizing it, you are not recognizing it because of the disturbance of the mind. So first you have to purify the mind make it single pointed, and that can be done through work, through action. So the path of Karma Yoga was taught to Arjuna, and also the path of Upasana to further purify and quieten the mind. Then Bhagavan talked about gaining that self-knowledge through a teacher. So approaching a teacher, tat viddhi pranipatena pariprasnena sevaya. So gaining that self-knowledge. Self-knowledge means the knowledge of this inner self, which is the witness of the ahankar also, which we experience in our deep sleep. That self, which is experienced in deep sleep, dreamless sleep, that self we have to recognize first. We have to be completely convinced that I am that self. Because I am the body and the mind, this thought keep on coming in between. So I have to be convinced that I am that innermost self, different from this body, mind, world. So I should first understand what I am not. I am not this body, not this mind, not this changing world, but I am someone different, eternal, changeless. So through meditation, I have to recognize it. So Bhagavan also taught the path of meditation in the 6th chapter. Slowly and steadily recognize that self as different from the body. Be convinced that the body might change and die, but you don't die. Be convinced that you are that eternal self, the innermost self, which doesn't get affected by time, space, object, which cannot be cut by any weapons. It cannot be harmed in any way. So once we recognize that innermost self, then we can understand when the scripture says that you are that Brahma, you are that Param Atma. So after understanding my own innermost self, Bhagavan starts revealing the nature of this Paramatma from chapter 7 onwards. He says, I am the Paramatma, that supreme Paramatma, who alone is expressing as this world. So world is not different from me. World is my expression only. But the world is changing and I am changeless. So world is a changing expression through my Shakti, my Prakriti. So recognize me, understand me as appearing as this world, but beyond this world. So understand me. So Bhagavan explained this very elaborately to Arjuna in the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th chapters. In the 10th chapter, Bhagavan even showed all the vibhutis to Arjuna. And in the 11th chapter, he demonstrated that how the whole world is my own self. The world is not different from me. So understand me, that Paramatma. Recognize me, Paramatma, as the very substratum, the source of this world. So, these two things. First is we have to recognize ourselves different from this body and recognize Paramatma different from this world but source of this world and expressing as this world. Paramatma alone is expressing as this world. So after making our understanding clear about Atma and Paramatma, Bhagwan in the 13th chapter reveals the identity of Atma and Paramatma, that Tvam, you are that Paramatma, you and I are one. Kshetrajñam chapi mam viddhi sarva kshetreshu bharata. Hey Arjuna, you are myself and myself is not different from you. All the jivas are my own self. And this world is expression of myself. So the identity was revealed in the 13th chapter. And this is the completion of the teaching of the Vedas, the Upanishads, the Aham and Brahma and its identity. Aham Brahmasmi, Tattvamasi. So after revealing that identity in the 13th chapter and explaining further in 14th chapter also, in the 15th chapter, Bhagwan gives the sar, the essence of this whole teaching. He says that I and you are that Paramatma, which is named as Purushottama. And this world and the cause of this world as this Prakriti are our own Para and Apara Prakriti, or what you call this Kshara and Akshara Purusha. So the world is myself as Kshara Purusha, and this that Maya is myself as Akshara Purusha, and myself and you are one. There is no difference. So, from the standpoint of that Uttama Purusha, the whole truth was revealed in the 15th chapter. Okay? So, in the first 6 chapter, Bhagwan talked about Tvam. In the second set of 6 chapters, Bhagwan talked about Tat. Then he revealed the identity of this Tat and Tvam, and then maintaining this identity, Bhagwan revealed the essence in the 15th chapter, that I, that is you and I, you are not different from me. I am the Purushottama, and this world is my expression only. This world is Kshara, Purusha, and the cause is Akshara Purusha. So thus the teachings of the Upanishad is completed in all these chapters. So now what is remaining? Now actually we have to do the sadhana. We have to practice, do the sadhana and recognize ourselves. Teaching is being given. We have to now follow this teaching, do the sadhana and realize our own self. So in the following chapters, the 16th, 17th and 18th chapters, Bhagwan focuses the attention more on the sadhana, the spiritual practice which we have to do in order to recognize ourselves and become free of this samsara. So in this 16th chapter, he talks about the 2 types of prakriti, or 2 types of sampatti it is called. We will discuss more about it. The Daivi and Asuri sampatti, or the divine and devilish qualities which are there in human beings. Human beings are divided broadly into two groups as divine and devilish. Daiva and Asuri. Okay. So we will study it in detail. So this Daivi Sampatti, Daivi will lead us towards moksha, and Asuri leads us towards bondage. So first we have to understand my nature with which I am born, and try to cultivate that positivity in myself. Okay. Then Bhagavan also in this chapter gives the importance of following the guidance of the Shastra while leading this path of spirituality. It's very important because the Shastras are the Praman, the Bhagavad Gita, the Upanishad, the Brahma Sutras, the Vedas, the Puranas, the Itihas. All of them are Praman. In the 17th chapter, Bhagavan will focus attention on eliminating the main negative qualities which are there in us with the help of three main important sadhana, the yajna, dana and tapas. Yajna, dana, tapas. And the main negativities are kama, krodha and lobha. So this kama, krodha, lobha is eliminated through yajna, dana, tapas. That also we'll study in detail when we come to the 17th chapter. And then in the 18th chapter, Bhagavan analyzes very beautifully that how we have to recognize our kartavya karma and how we have to dedicate this to Ishvara, and slowly and steadily through this path of dedicating our actions to Ishvara, become absolutely pure and gain the knowledge, self-knowledge, and gain abidance in this self-knowledge, what is called the Jnana Nishtha. So Bhagavan in the 18th chapter talks about this path of Karma Yoga in more beautifully detail, and how to gain, and the gaining of that knowledge and dedicating ourselves to the path of Niridhyasan, Jnana Nishtha, gaining abidance in that knowledge and becoming free. And Bhagavan will conclude his teaching in the 18th chapter by telling Arjuna that thus you come to me in that meditation, in through Sharanagati, you just surrender to me and become free of this samsara. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja ahantva sarva papebhya mokshayishyami ma shuchaha. So it's very important. All these three chapters are extremely important from the standpoint of our sadhana, because the theory, whatever we have to understand, is already taught to us in these 15 chapters. Now we have to practice. Therefore, after every chapter, that Sankalpa Vakya is there, कि ब्रह्म विद्यायाम योग शास्त्रे. What is this Bhagavad Gita? Brahma Vidya and Yoga Shastra. So that Brahma Vidya is the theory, knowledge of that Brahma as our own self. Then Yoga Shastra is the science of yoga, the science of practice. the science of following the path and attaining the goal. Just as in our school or college also, when we study science, let us say chemistry and all, so first we are taught the theory and then we go to the laboratory and do the practical experiment and understand the subject completely. Similarly, Bhagwan has revealed the theory, the main teaching of the Upanishads in these 15 chapters. First revealing the nature of Aham, then revealing the nature of Brahma, then conveying the identity of Aham and Brahma, and then conclusively speaking as that Brahma alone in the 15th chapter. Okay? So let us begin this 16th chapter. It's called Daivasura Sampat Vibhaga Yoga, classification of the wealth, the Daivi wealth and Asuri wealth, divine wealth and devilish wealth. So let us begin. Okay? Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha. अथ षोडशोऽध्यायः श्रीभगवानुवाच अभयं सत्त्वसंशुद्धिः ज्ञानयोगव्यवस्थितिः दानं दमश्च यज्ञश्च स्वाध्यायस्तप आर्जवम्. Om षोडशोऽध्यायः. This is the 16th chapter. It begins with Bhagwan's words alone, because Bhagwan had mentioned certain things in the 9th chapter, but it was not elaborately explained. So he explains it in this chapter. He had mentioned about the Daivi and Asuri Sampatti in the 9th chapter. So just we will go briefly to the 9th chapter. In the 9th chapter, Bhagwan had first conveyed his identity. He said that I pervade this whole world. The whole world exists in me, but I am not in the world, in the sense I am not in the expression of the world. The world is changing, I am not changing. It's like the gold saying that I pervade the ornaments. The ornaments are in me, but I am not in the ornaments. Means when the ornament get broken, I am not broken. And in me there are no ornaments. Similarly, Bhagwan had mentioned in the 9th chapter that I pervade the whole world. The whole world exists in me. I am not in the world. The world is not in me. So 4 levels of understanding Bhagwan's supreme nature. So when we see the world, Bhagwan is present in the world. When we look further, we understand the world is present in Bhagwan. When we look further, we understand that changes are happening in the world but not in Bhagwan. And when we look further, we understand Bhagwan alone is there. There is no world. So this is most beautifully it was presented in the 9th chapter. And Bhagwan says, you understand me, hey Arjuna, you recognize me, understand me. But Bhagwan mentioned there in the 9th chapter that those who are endowed with asuri qualities, they don't recognize me. Avajananti mam moodhaha manushim tanum ashritam param bhavam ajanantah mama bhuta maheshwaram मोघाशा मोघ कर्माणः मोघ ज्ञान विचेतसः राक्षसीम आसुरीं चैव प्रकृतिं मोहिनीं श्रिताः. Bhagavan says that though I am present in them, though I am present in the whole world, I am very much, so much close. Actually, Bhagavan is present in our own heart, but people don't recognize me and they dishonor me. Though I am present in your own heart and I am present in the world, people not recognizing, Bhagavan says, me, they disrespect me. Avajananti, these foolish people, they disrespect me. They don't recognize me. But what is the problem? Why are they not recognizing you? Bhagavan says, because they are taking support of their asuri sampatti. Rakshasim asurin chaiva prakritim mohinim shritaha. They take support of their rakshasi, asuri, mohini sampatti, means their negative, devilish qualities, and because of that they fail to recognize me. See, for example, a person who loves you a lot, expresses so much of affection towards you and always takes care of you, your husband or your wife or your children or your friend. But at times, suddenly they are, let us say, overpowered by anger. Let us say a husband becomes extremely angry, whatever be the reason, and in the heat of that anger, he becomes violent. He starts even hitting the person whom he loves, start doing some action which are so harmful that other person. So we start wondering, he has got so much love, why is he behaving like this? What has happened to him? He is behaving like this because he is overpowered by the devilish qualities, anger, hatred, jealousies, dislike. All these are devilish qualities, and a person is taken over by these negativities. And when he is taken over by these negativities, he doesn't know what is right, what is wrong, what should be done, what should not be done. He acts in a most harmful and a most negative way. This we see in the world. We see people behaving in the most harmful and violent and negative way in the world. Even so-called good people, nice people, at times they behave in totally different way. So then we ask, Hare Baba, when that person becomes okay, we ask, what happened to you? He says, what to do? I am feeling so ashamed and I am repenting so much that why did I behave in this way? But what happened? I was overpowered by anger. People, you must have heard, and we keep reading in the newspapers and seeing the news and all. People in the fit of anger, they do all sorts of things. They kill their own family members, they destroy the properties, they do all sorts of things. And when they become sober, then they themselves start wondering, कि क्या हो गया था मुझे? If you visit even the jails and all, we find so many criminals there, spending their time in jail for some crime which they had done at a spur of the moment. Anger, they were overpowered by anger or overpowered by intense lust or overpowered by intense greed, which led to the negative actions. All negative actions in the world can be categorized, propelled by either anger or lust, means intense desire, or greed, and the relatives of these three negative qualities. So when a person is overpowered by this, these are the basic qualities of the Rakshasas which are there within us. Rakshasas are there within us, means these negativities are the qualities, Rakshasi quality. Means they are the Rajasic and Tamasic qualities. Rakshasi, Asuri and Mohini they are called. All three are synonyms. Rakshasi, Asuri, Mohini. Rakshasi means that person then becomes very violent. Asuri means he becomes totally, doesn't understand what is pure and impure. Mohini means totally gets deluded. So Rakshasim, Asurim, Chaiva, Prakritim, Mohinim, Shritaha. So Bhagavan says they take support of this Rakshasi, Asuri and Mohini Prakriti. Because of that, they don't recognize me, and because of that, they spend their life perceiving false hopes and performing useless activities and acquiring useless information and data. Collecting, people spend so much time collecting informations which are not useful at all. They will spend whole day listening to all the news. They know more about what is happening than anybody else in the world. Not only what is happening in India, they also know everything what is happening in America also. So collecting information, analyzing, thinking, talking about it, writing about it is called Mogat Jnana, collecting knowledge which are not useful for us, which will not lead us towards the supreme goal. Totally distracted they live. So here Bhagavan has mentioned the Asuri, Rakshasi and Mohini qualities. But as against this, there are this positive quality which is called Daivi. So Bhagavan says, Mahatmanastu mam partha daivim prakritim ashritaha. Bhagavan says, those who take support, they take refuge in their Daivi qualities, they are the Mahatmas. The good and bad reside in us. It is up to us to take support of the Daivi or the Asuri. If we take support of the Daivi, we evolve, we gain moksha. If we take support of the Asuri, we devolve, we get tied up in this samsara. The choice is ours. Just like Duryodhana had the choice to choose Bhagavan Krishna or the army. He chose the army. Arjuna chose Bhagavan. Constantly this choice is there with us. We choose the Daivi or we choose the Asuri. Like if suppose we have some problem in our life, some person is troubling us, irritating us. So we need support. So we have choice either to take support of the good people or the proper channel, or take support of some negative forces. It may appear that if we take support of negative forces, the problem might be solved immediately, but it will lead to greater problems. Because the scripture says, Satyameva Jayate, ultimately the truth alone will win. Goodness alone will win. It might take its own time, but ultimately goodness alone will win. Whether it is an individual or a society or a nation, whichever takes the negative Asuri forces to win their wars will perish. Those who take support of the Daivi will prosper and become free. So Bhagavan says, those are the Mahatmas who take support of the Daivi Prakriti. Mahatmanastu mam partha Daivim Prakritim ashritaha. Taking the support of the Daivi Prakriti. When they take the support of this Daivi Prakriti, what happens? The natural expression happens. Bhajanti ananya manasa. They start worshipping that Ishvara. Knowing him as the very cause of this world, as that indestructible, imperishable, supreme ruler of this world, they start worshipping him. See, this teaching was given by Vibhishan to his brother Ravan also. See, Ravan was a very learned person. He had lot of knowledge. But this Daivi and Asuri Sampatti are hidden in us, as though. So Vibhishan told him that, hey, my brother Ravan, ki sumati kumati sabke hiya rahahi. That is Kumati. That is Rakshasi, Asuri Sampatti is like Kumati. And Daivi Sampatti is like Sumati, good thoughts, good values. Vibhishan said that this is there in everyone's heart. But we have the choice. We can take support of the good within us, or we can take the support of the bad within us. The choice is with us. If we take the support of good, we win. If we take the support of bad, we lose. The choice is with us. We have to choose. And those who have chosen the Devi, then they worship that Ishvara. Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha dhridavrataha namasyantascha mam bhaktya nitya yukta upasate. Constantly they worship and then ultimately gain that liberation. Okay? So in order for us to choose the divine, between the divine and the devil, between the Asuri, between the Daivi and the Asuri, in order to choose, we have to understand their nature. We have to understand those qualities so that we can choose. So the positive ones, we have to recognize, then strengthen them, honor them, nourish them within us. And then those negativities which are there, we have to weaken them. We have to disregard them. We have to remove all support system towards them. This is the sadhana, which is being now conveyed in this 16th chapter. See, all the sadhanas are very deep and should be understood properly and done. then they will take us towards our goal. Okay? So, in the beginning of this chapter, 16th chapter, Bhagwan Shankaracharya ji, he writes कि दैवी आसुरी राक्षसी च इति प्राणिनां प्रकृतयो नवमे अध्याये सूचिताः. He says that in the 9th chapter, Bhagwan had hinted on this Daivi, Asuri, Rakshasi, Prakriti of all beings. Tasam Vistarena Pradarsanaya, to explain it in detail, he begins this chapter. Vistarena Pradarsanaya Abhayam Sattva Samshuddhi Ityadi Adhyaya Arabhyate. But what is the purpose? He says, कि तत्र संसार मोक्षाय दैवी प्रकृति ही. To become free of this samsara, we have to take support of दैवी prakriti. We have to take support of दैवी prakriti. Then the rest, everything is done by that prakriti. Because Prakriti, we have seen before also that everything is actually expression of this Prakriti only. This Daivi Prakriti is more Sattvic Prakriti, and Rakshasi and Asuri and Mohini Prakriti is Tamasic, Rajasic Prakriti. So if we take support of this Daivi Prakriti, we become free. It's like when you want to go to a particular place, when you have to travel by train, let us say, to your destination, you go on the platform and you see two trains, one going where your destination is and another train is going elsewhere. So first recognize the train which is going towards your destination and sit in that train. The rest of the job is done by the train. But the choice is yours. Suppose I sit in the wrong train, I cannot blame the train because it is anyway going in the wrong direction. Similarly, there are only two trains, the Daivi train and the Asuri train. The Daivi train will take us towards moksha and Asuri train will take us towards or keep us in this samsara. We have to choose. We can't be sitting in the Daivi, what you call Asuri train and saying that, oh, what to do, I am not reaching my goal, moksha. क्या हो गया, मुझे मोक्ष ही नहीं मिल रहा है, मुझे शांति ही नहीं है, क्या करे, बहुत परेशानी है, because you are sitting in the wrong train. So if one understands that I am in the wrong train, just get down from the train and catch the right train. That's what Bhagwan says, Shankaracharya, कि तत्र संसार मोक्षाय दैवी प्रकृति ही, for samsara moksha दैवी प्रकृति ही, and nibandhanaya asuri rakshasi chaiti, and to bind us to the samsara, the asuri and rakshasi prakriti are there. Therefore, the Daivi Prakriti should be acquired and one should hold it and nourish it. Daivya adanaya pradarshanam kriyate. And itarayoho parivarjanaya. And the Asuri Sampatti, we should abandon them. Should not take their support. We should not nourish them. Should neglect them. And later on Bhagavan will tell each one of us, we are born with a predominant of Daivi or Asuri qualities. Different proportion. So we have to recognize our own nature and support the Daivi Prakriti. So what are the Daivi Prakriti? That is, Bhagavan tells elaborately in the first 3 verses. He enumerates them in verse 1, 2 and 3. So we chanted the first verse. So Shri Bhagavan Vacha Abhayam Sattva Samshuddhihi Jnana Yoga Vyavastitihi. Bhagavan says that this Daivi Sampatti is Abhayam. The first and foremost Sampatti which is mentioned here. Sampatti means wealth. This is the inner wealth, the inner divine wealth. And the first one is Abhayam means fearlessness, absence of fear. Absence of fear. We will think more about it. Then Sattva Samshuddhihi, then purity of our mind, Antakkarana, purity of Antakkarana, and Jnana Yoga Vyavastitihi, and abidance in Jnana and Yoga, knowledge and Yoga. Then Dhanam, charity, Dana. Then Damaha, self-control. Yajnaha, yajna worship. Swadhyaya, self-study. Tapa, austerity. Arjavam, straightforwardness. These are the Daivi qualities. More are there in the next two verses. So the first quality which is mentioned is fearlessness. This we have to have within us to make even the right choice. We have to become fearless. If there is fear, then we choose wrong, we do wrong things, we behave badly, we go in the wrong direction. That fearlessness is a Daivi quality. And we might be born with it in the predominance, or we may have less of it. But everyone will have it to certain degrees in them. It has to be recognized, has to be understood properly and well nourished. And one should take support of that. See, this fearlessness doesn't depend on really our physical strength. It doesn't depend on some wealth or armed forces we have around us. It is a very deep inner quality. It comes when we have deep faith in ourselves and in that Supreme Ishvara. When we have the deep understanding of our own sublime nature, when we have no attachment to our body, mind, to the world around, that fearlessness it expresses. Even Vairagya gives rise to that fearlessness. But we have to locate it and encourage it and nourish it. Experience that sense of fearlessness. See, in our Kathopanishad, that story of Nachiketa is there, who approached even Yamraj. Nachiketa was told by his own father that you die, you go to Yamraj. And fearlessly he approached Yamrajji, the Lord of Death. People are afraid of Yamraj, but Nachiketa stood in front of him. And Yamrajji was so humble and so gentle in front of him. And Yamrajji offered him lot of wealth and name, fame and land and long life and lot of pleasures. Nachiketa said, I don't want all this. I want to gain self-knowledge from you. I don't want anything else. Because even if you give me a long life, ultimately I will have to die. So what is the use of this long life? If you give me a lot of pleasures, they will all take away the strength of my senses. So what is the use of these pleasures? And they will lead to sorrow only in the end. I want self-knowledge. Only that will satisfy me. And Yamraji then gave him that self-knowledge, taught him. So the fearlessness to choose the right path. See, generally we have choice. Everyone has got choice in life. But many people, they choose depending on what the majority is doing. What is the majority doing? कहाँ पर भीड़ ज़्यादा है? भेड़ चाल. Then they also follow it. Arey, why are you following me? Because you are following others. So where more crowd is there, we try to rush there. So there are people who think majority means good. Majority is right. Majority is always good. Majority is right. That's their thinking. But that is not true all the time. Majority can be totally wrong. That's why this democracy also fails. Because it's a majority rule. More people give vote, the person gets chosen. But majority doesn't determine what is right. In the good old days, majority were thinking that the earth is in the center of the universe and the whole world is moving around it. Thereafter, the scientists came to know that no, the sun is the center and all the planets are moving around it. Even now, majority have some other view. Or even the spirituality. Majority doesn't believe in spirituality. But that doesn't mean they are right. Even if one person have faith in God, that person is true, that person is right. Even if the whole world is against. Bhakta Prahlad, in the entire kingdom, he was the only one who had faith in God, in Bhagwan. His father did not have. Most of the citizens of that kingdom did not have. Only Bhakta Prahlad. He said, no, Bhagwan is everywhere. He is present everywhere. He is the ruler of this entire creation. He alone exists. His father said, what are you talking? I will kill you. He said, you won't be able to kill me if that Ishvara doesn't want me to be dead. You don't have any power. His father put him in fire, but it did not burn Bhakta Prahlad. He was fearless. And his father then kicked that pillar and Bhagwan came out of that pillar to protect Prahlad and to destroy this Hiranyakashipu. So that fearlessness is a very deep and very interesting and very important quality, which is a Daivi Sampatti. It is a divine gift. See, Sampatti is like a wealth, but it's a gift. Divine gift from the Devatas. So it is given to us in large or small quantity. Even the most frightened person in certain circumstances become totally fearless. Even little animals when they have to protect their own little ones, they become fearless. They fight with the snakes or with some birds or with some tigers and all to protect their own. Fearlessly they face. So that fearlessness is very important on the spiritual path, because we are seeking that which is unknown and that which is unknowable through any worldly means, but which can be attained. So it requires complete fearlessness to take that step. Otherwise we listen, but we don't take the step. We don't move forward because of fear. Fear of losing something, fear of failure. Different fears are there which prevent us from walking this path. Only the brave few alone walk this path. As Swami Vivekananda ji, he says, "Ki arise, awake, and stop not till the goal is reached." So only those who are brave, fearless, will be able to walk this path and attain the goal. The rest will keep on complaining that, oh, it is very difficult, I cannot practice, so I don't do. They will keep on giving silly reasons why they don't want to practice, or they will keep complaining, keep finding faults. Why? Because deeply they are frightened. So be fearless, walk this path and attain the goal. More about this we will see in our class tomorrow. Till then, you take care, be happy, safe, peaceful, healthy and fearless. Be fearless. Those who are frightened, they die every day. Those who are fearless, they die once. Whenever the body falls down, that time we die. But those who are frightened, they die every moment. Okay? And we shall meet again tomorrow. Hari Om. Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram. 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 Jaya Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram. Bole Siyavar Ramachandra Bhagwan ki Jai. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari